The episode 12 begins with Naoshi Yuzui commending Miyo for awakening her dream sight powers and venturing into his castle. Miyo says that she hasn't come to ensure Naoshi can make his ideal world. Rather, she wants to stop him. Naoshi Yuzui realizes that Miyo hasn't learned from the past. Thus, he thinks that Miyo must be punished. Kiyoka Kudo stands in front of Miyo to shield her. Episode 12 then shows a confrontation between Naoshi Yuzui and Kiyoka. The former demonstrates his ocular abilities to send a flock of crows at Kiyoka, who wonders whether it's an illusion or reality. Suddenly, he observes Naoshi charging at him out of nowhere with a medium-sized dagger. Kiyoka quickly blocks the blade and goes for a counterattack. However, Naoshi Yuzui keeps up with Kiyoka, anticipating his every move. As Kiyoka Kudo clashes his blade with Naoshi Yuzui, he observes that his enemy has another blade in his other hand. Episode 12 then shows Naoshi slashing Kiyoka's chest with another dagger. Naoshi Yuzui's attack leaves Kiyoka bleeding. However, he soon realizes that it's not an actual wound. Rather, it's another illusion created by Naoshi Yuzui. Kiyoka Kudo cannot believe that his enemy can control others' minds as well. Naoshi Yuzui's attack in My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12 leaves Kiyoka's subconscious mind gasping for breath. Naoshi mentions how the illusion born from Kiyoka's own distorted thoughts will be his end. Meanwhile, Miyo Saimori desperately wants to step in and stop the fight. However, Arata Yusuba stops Miyo by pointing a gun at her. Elsewhere, in My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12, Yoshido Goto and others defeat the brainwashed soldiers and the gifted communion members. Just then, one of his comrades arrives at the location to inform him that their squad has found Mikado's whereabouts. Mikado is confined on the top of the abandoned former official residence. As such, he heads to the location, leaving Tadakio and others at the castle. Tadakio Kudo tells Yoshido that he must go and carry out his duty. Elsewhere, Kiyoka Kudo fights back the psychological pain with sheer determination. He demonstrates his supernatural abilities to release thunder toward Naoshi Yuzui, who effortlessly evades the attack and charges at Kiyoka with his dagger. As Kiyoka blocks the dagger, he realizes that it's only an illusion. The real dagger is on Naoshi's other hand, which he uses to mildly slash Kiyoka's feet. Naoshi's repeated illusions corner Kiyoka. As such, he changes his plan. He lunges forward to strike Naoshi down. The gifted communion's leader shifts to the other side to plunge the knife down into Kiyoka's back. However, this is exactly what Kiyoka wanted. Anticipating the move, he uses his fire abilities to throw Naoshi off guard. Yet, it's not enough to defeat his enemy, as Naoshi uses a shield to block the flames. Episode 12 then shows Naoshi Yuzui's real strength, as he plunges Kiyoka into a horrifying nightmare. Meanwhile, Miyo Saimori wants to go and help her fiancé. However, Arata doesn't allow her to go. At this moment in My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12, Miyo Saimori confronts a vision of the future where Arata and Naoshi Yuzui die. On the other side, Kiyoka Kudo is confined to a nightmarish loop where Miyo Saimori repeatedly dies at the hands of a terrifying grotesquerie. What's worse, he can only watch the horror unfold and cannot do anything to protect his fiancée. As Kiyoka Kudo suffers from an unimaginable psychological pain, Miyo Saimori steps in. She demonstrates her powers as the Dream Sight Maiden to change the environment of Kiyoka's hell into a heavenly abode. Interestingly, Arata Yusuba and Naoshi Yuzui are also in the dreamscape with Kiyoka and Miyo. Episode 12 then focuses on Miyo Saimori, who confronts Naoshi Yuzui with a determined will. She wants Naoshi to change his ways and stop inflicting pain on others. Miyo reminds him about his past with her mother, including that she, Sumi, wouldn't have wanted to see Naoshi tread on such a path. Yet, Naoshi usually remains determined to follow his own ideals. He thinks a world without Sumi is a world to be destroyed. At this moment, Miyo slaps Naoshi usually to remind him more about the past he shared with Sumi. However, in response, Naoshi envelopes the dreamscape with darkness. Episode 12, Sumi Saimori's visage descends to the land. Her arrival ushers in light to dispel the darkness pervading the dreamland. Naoshi Yujui is transfixed by Sumi's visage. Even though he's overjoyed to see her, Sumi's face displays no smile. Sumi doesn't show any emotion because Naoshi Yujui has hurt her family. Yet, at the same time, he recognizes that he's also her family. That's why she wants the man to stop his evil deeds and join him. However, Naoshi Yujui mentions how protecting Sumi's smile was everything he cherished in his life. Since Sumi is no longer alive, he wants to destroy the world, which now has no meaning to him. For a while, Sumi doesn't say anything. She breaks her silence by releasing Naoshi from his duty as her protective sword and asking him to join her. However, Naoshi has had enough. He picks up his dagger and plunges it into his chest to break free from the dreamscape. As the dream world collapses, Miyo finds herself trapped in a strange environment, with clocks surrounding her. Miyo then hears Sumi's voice telling her that the gears of a new era have begun to turn. She assures her that everything will be fine. Sumi also commends Miyo for her effort. After regaining consciousness, Miyo Saimori discovers Naoshi Yujui in an injured state, trying to go after Kiyoka. However, his illusions fail. Arata Yusuba points his gun at Naoshi. Arata fires the bullet at the same time as Naoshi throws his dagger at him. The bullet pierces through Naoshi's chest, while the dagger plunges into Arata's body. Horrified, Miyo goes to check on Arata. Meanwhile, Kiyoka Kudo shouts for a medic. As for Naoshi, he slowly loses his consciousness. In his last moments, Naoshi usually sees Sumi's visage, who extends her hand toward him. Just like their childhood days, Naoshi joins Sumi on a walk. Yet this time, it's the walk to the afterlife. After some time, the medic arrives and takes the injured Arata Yusuba away. On the other hand, Kiyoka confirms Naoshi Yujui's death. Meanwhile, Miyo Saimori, in a teary voice, questions the existence of the supernatural abilities, as she cannot understand how people can fight for power and hurt others. Even though she could change the future with her ability, she laments that she couldn't protect her mother's wish. Kiyoka Kudo then hugs Miyo and tells her that she has done everything that she could. My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12 ends with Kiyoka and Miyo meeting Yoshito and others outside after the horrific trial.
We're diving deep into the heartfelt and emotional final episode of My Happy Marriage Season 2, Episode 13, titled The Shape of My Happiness. The episode begins with a calm atmosphere, a much-needed breather after the recent chaos. The supernatural threats have been dealt with, and peace seems to be returning. Miyo is seen peeling an orange for Arata while he's resting. Playfully, Arata teases her, saying, "Being hospitalized isn't so bad if you're going to peel oranges for me like this." Miyo then asks him seriously, "Did you plan from the beginning to have Naoshi Yujui shot?" Arata Tsuruki finally opens up. He admits his mistakes honestly and apologizes sincerely to both Miyo and Kiyoka. Miyo shares how the entire situation was traumatic for her. Arata no longer hides behind pride. Instead, he takes responsibility for the pain he caused. This moment serves as a symbolic closure to old wounds, especially between him and Miyo. Miyo then says, "If only I could have used my ability back then, I might have been able to fix things." That moment, Kiyoka arrives. Arata, still teasing, says to him, "You came here to see me, didn't you?" Kiyoka responds firmly, "Don't misunderstand. I came here to pick up Miyo." As she walks over to Kiyoka and the two prepare to leave. As they are about to depart, Erita jokingly remarks, "You two are going on a date, aren't you?" Miyo smiles and replies, "Yes."
デートですか?
The scene shifts to Kiyoka's mother and sister discussing his upcoming wedding. They're talking about preparations, particularly about what dress Miyo should wear. It's a warm, light-hearted moment between them as they share their thoughts. Hazuki gently presents Miyo with a delicate white kimono. "This," she says with a tender smile, "is the white kimono father gave mother when she married into the Kuda family. It's well worn now because I wore it too. And Miyo, I want you to inherit it." Miyo stands frozen for a moment, overwhelmed. Her eyes begin to well up as her voice, trembling with emotion, narrates her thoughts. "The outfit my mother wore when she married into the Saimori family, it doesn't exist anymore. So the thought of inheriting something from someone, it never even occurred to me that such a moment could be possible." Unable to hold back her tears, Miyo's emotions overflow. Kiyoka's mother, observing her crying, says dryly, "Crying over a mere piece of clothing? How pathetic." Still, there's no harshness in her tone, and with surprising gentleness, she hands Miyo a handkerchief. "Miyo, thank you." Just then, Hazuki teases with a laugh, "Mother, when you received this same white kimono, father told me, you were so happy you cried buckets, you know." Kiyoka's mother's face turns beet red. She snaps back with a flustered tone, "Be quiet."
嬉しくて大泣きしてたってお
Kiyoka Kudu, a man who has spent most of his life on the battlefield, leading with strength and honor. But now he chooses something far more personal, love over duty. With a calm resolve, he submits his resignation papers.
書いてある通りです。
理由を聞かせてくれ。
おります。
A symbolic act that speaks volumes. He's ready to step away from conflict, to finally live a life not for the empire but for himself and Miyo. But he doesn't leave his responsibilities hanging. In a quiet, respectful gesture, he appoints Gadu as his successor, ensuring the unit he led so fiercely will be in good hands. This decision, it's not just mature, it's deeply heartwarming. It shows that Kiyoka isn't just protecting Miyo from the outside world. He's also building a life with her emotionally, mentally, completely. He's choosing peace. He's choosing her. After their quiet little date, Miyo and Kiyoka return home. But they're not alone. Outside, a sleek black car is already waiting, parked like a silent messenger of fate. Standing beside it is Takakura, the ever-formal envoy from the imperial palace. He greets them with courtesy but wastes no time. The Imperial Gifted Communications Bureau is extending an invitation to you, Miyo.
ここについてのご提案で参りました。
He says firmly. He speaks of the chaos that recently unfolded in the capital, the kind of disaster they can't afford to repeat. That's why, he explains, we need individuals with your abilities to serve under Prince Takahito.
あなたの力を高い人様の下で使っていた。
Then, turning to Kiyoka, he adds, as Miyo's husband, you're welcome to come to the Imperial Palace as well. A formal offer, and a test of their resolve. Before going, Takakura simply says, take your time. Think it over. And just like that, he's gone. Miyo and Kiyoka are left sitting in silence. Now the choice is theirs. As night blankets the sky, peace settles in their quiet home. Miyo and Kiyoka sit beside each other, the silence between them warm and comforting. After a pause, Kiyoka gently says, I've submitted my resignation. I'm no longer part of the military. Miyo looks at him in surprise. But that's something you've devoted so much time to. Kiyoka smiles softly and replies, because now, I want to spend my time with you. I want a peaceful life with you in it. Her heart swells with emotion. She reaches out and embraces him, whispering, I support your decision truly. Then, after a moment, Kiyoka pulls back slightly and asks her the question that's been on his mind. What about you, Miyo? What do you want to do about the offer from the Imperial Palace this morning? Miyo stays quiet for a heartbeat, then replies with gentle certainty. I don't want to go either. I just want to stay here with you. They hold each other again, more tightly
共に暮らそう。私たちの家。
than before. Two souls finally free to love, to live, and to choose peace. The next morning arrives with quiet resolve. Miyo and Kiyoka visit Prince Takahito at the Imperial Palace. As they bow respectfully, the prince greets them calmly, but then he looks at Kiyoka and politely says, "Kiyoka, would you mind waiting outside?" Kiyoka nods and silently steps away, giving Miyo the space to speak her heart. Prince turns to Miyo, his expression gentle yet serious. "So, Miyo, what have you decided about the offer?" Taking a breath, Miyo raises her eyes and responds with quiet strength. "Thank you for the opportunity, but I've made my decision. I don't wish to join the Gifted Communications Bureau. I simply want to live peacefully with Kiyoka." Prince takes a moment, then smiles with understanding. "I respect your decision, Miyo," he says with warmth in his voice. With that, the meeting ends and Miyo rejoins Kiyoka outside. Kiyoka brings Miyo to a quiet, scenic spot. There, he hands her a small gift. Kiyoka gently reaches into his coat and takes out a small box. Inside is a delicate hairpin. "I thought this would suit you," he says calmly, offering it to Miyo. She accepts it with a warm smile and a quiet thank you.
刺してください。似合いますか？
Then Miyo pulls out something, a new braided cord. She steps closer, lifts his hair gently, and ties the cord onto Kiyoka's hair. They exchange a look.
新しいく。
とっても素敵。
No big words, just mutual understanding. After the quiet exchange of gifts, they hug each other, holding on to the moment. Then Kiyoka asks gently, "Miyo, will you marry me?" Miyo pauses, blushing slightly, then nods with a soft smile. "Yes."
してほしい。
I love you. And with that, the episode closes, not with fireworks or grand declarations, but with a simple, honest beginning to their new life together. That's all for today's breakdown of My Happy Marriage Season 2, Episode 13. I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I did. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends who love the series. And hey, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of the season finale? But before I wrap up, I'm going to drop some major spoilers for Season 3, so if you haven't read or watched it yet, this is your warning to click away now. Spoilers ahead. In Season 3, we dive deep into the aftermath of the events of this season. Miyo's relationship with Kiyoka faces some serious challenges, especially with the arrival of new characters that bring even more drama into their lives. There's also a huge revelation about Miyo's past that'll shake everything she thought she knew. And as for Erita, things get way more complicated with his journey as he faces some really dark moments that could change the course of his future. It's an emotional roller coaster, so trust me, you're going to want to keep up. Spoilers end. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and stay tuned for more awesome content.